listening to the Shite Talk podcast show. Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talk podcast show. Mark and Ken.
What's up?
On episode 235 of the Shite Talk podcast show.
We hope.
We are back after a week of absence. I hope these all missed us.
Well, I missed us.
I missed us as well. I missed sitting down on a Wednesday talking shy.
A certain somebody said that he had 3 episodes to catch up on, so he didn't miss us.
If anything, he's still an episode behind, or 2, possibly.
Yeah, probably because he listens to everything in half speed.
That's probably why he's behind on episodes. There's a perfectly good reason why we have an hour-long podcast. That is people's attention span.
My attention span is probably less than that.
My girlfriend always swears she never listens to the podcast.
But she always looked things that you said.
No, we were on the fucking way over there, and she was like struggling to get something off Spotify, and I looked down to what was playing, and it was our podcast. I didn't see what episode.
So there you go. So she does listen.
Yeah, well, she was trying to get out of that, so she might have accidentally clicked it.
She accidentally listened
to about a second of it. And you know what? If you go onto our Instagram, I misspelled controversial.
Controversial.
Yeah, I misspelled controversial on our Instagram post. I was sitting beside her when I was spelling that, and when I was doing the poster, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I noticed that when you're doing the poster. I was wondering if it was like an artistic decision." I said, like, why would that be an artistic decision to spell something wrong? She's like, "Oh, you know."
You know what I find brilliant about this, Mark? About this exact story? That she knew it was spelled wrong, and it's not her first language.
Yeah. I think I spelled it right every other time. Which is just when I put up the podcast. I got it right the first, because then I was like, oh, I'm going to have to change everything. And I didn't know if it was right on the actual title. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to do this when I get back. And then I realized it was just Instagram. I was like, just Instagram. Who cares about Instagram?
Because when I first seen it, I was like, what the fuck is he trying to say here?
In fairness, I think... Yeah, I was on the plane, and you know, you have a person beside you you don't know, and you're kind of a little bit curious. Maybe someone in the backseat can see what you're actually on. You're looking at on your phone. So I was trying to do it on the sly. So I was just trying to do it quick, and then I obviously did.
Like it ended up, it was a mixture between controversial and consensual.
Which is an odd combination of words to try to combine.
Yeah, controversial consent.
Also known as rape kids. Yeah, so remember I said I go away and I come back with loads of interesting things about Hungary.
Yeah.
There isn't any, bar one. There's one interesting thing I found about Hungary. Actually, 2. It's fucking. One of them blows my mind, and one of them I think is hilarious. I would definitely vote for this person. The thing that blows my mind was they have 50 million ways to say no problem. So, like, over there visiting her family, literally the only 2 people in Hungary that don't speak fluent English. Everyone else had perfect English over there. I was like, well taught people. Like. It sounds like their first language, and I was trying to learn a few words of Hungarian so I could try my best at communication to her folks. And I was like, I found out what no problem was, and I said to my girlfriend before saying to her folks, in case I was fucking up the pronunciation, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's right, but it's not for that thing." I was like, "What's that mean?" It means like yeah, grand, okay, there's no problem. As if you're at, like someone asks you a question, and then it's like, she's told me which way to say it. So I was like, there again. And then there was another way. She goes, if you're hurt, this is how you say it. And I was like, how many different ways do you say no problem? She's like, there's a few. There's a few, okay? I'm not teaching you every single one. So then flip-flops or slides. So when I was growing up, all kind of sandals, slides were called flip-flops. They fell under the umbrella of flip-flops because when you walked, they made a flip-flop sound. I'm pretty sure you grew up with this kind of reality. But
same thing.
Some reason between now and when we were children, they're now called slides. She argues.
Of course they are. Of course.
Well, she argues at me they're called slippers. She goes, no, they're called slippers. And I go, they're not called slippers. And we had a big argument about whether flip-flops or slides were called slippers or slides. And I was like, so I Googled image search slides. This is how petty I am. And sent it to her. I didn't even show it to her. I sent it to her in a message because I didn't even want to have the conversation. I was like, I'm right. Eventually, you give 100 monkeys a test, they'll eventually be right in one. Yeah. She goes back and then tries to find pictures of slippers that are also fucking slides or flip flops. I was like, good luck to you, because you're not going to find them. But apparently, they have only one word to describe slippers, as in those things you wear around your house, flip flops, sandals, and like slides or whatever. And it's like, you've 50 ways to say no problem, but you've only one way to say something that's not shoes. Casual shoes.
Oh.
So that was my other thing. That's one thing I learned. They're like, because she was like, yes, we have so many words in English. It's such a vast language. And I was like, oh, this is going to take me a long time. I'm just trying to get over Irish.
Did you say anything to her parents?
No, I got the bare minimum down. Like, I'm full and no problem and yes and no. You know, and thank you. I got those things down. But I'd have them written down. So anytime, you know, if they, like you want to pay them a compliment or you want to reply to something, I'd have to go unlock my phone, find notes, because there's always gone off notes, and then say to them, they're like, oh, this might take a while. I'd look at it and then say it to them. They're like, oh, time has passed, Mark. So say it in English, she'll say it in Hungarian.
So, like, basically it was, yeah, you would have dinner, and 5 hours later you say, thank you for dinner.
Something like that.
And they're all going, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
As we're leaving, I'll be like, Gula Rugelt. And shit, they'll be like, good morning? It's like, whatever. And I'd leave and wait at the elevator. Yeah, and then my other thing, there was an election happening there, and there was a party, and their kind of advertisement that they are a party was they sent teenagers around on these little quads, and they'd fly around the street with like the slogan on the party, and they all wore masks, and the mask was like of this guy with a mustache going up his face. I don't know if he was a famous Hungarian person or something like that, but they used to just stand. They used to have mannequins around like the underground subways just of him standing on his toes with the face, and it's being in like a red hoodie. And this was their kind of campaign slogan. And apparently the person of that party was a former porn producer. I'd be like, take my vote.
Mark loves it without porn
producer, yeah. Take my vote. You have my vote. You have my full dying support for this party. Send teenagers rallying around the fucking major city while just planting mannequins to scare old ladies, and you're a porn producer. But no. Apparently, Putin's bestie got in. Yeah, so that's what. Yeah, so
they did that leave you depressed, Mark?
Well, I'd leave me a lot more questions if the country predicted a former porn producer on their first when the party's only like a few weeks old. If you kind of like when the Simpsons fan page made a joke about them running in the local elections, and people were like, "Yeah, we'll vote for you. Yeah, we're down for that." They're like, they had to come out and say, "No, we're not actually running in the local elections. Thanks for all the support." But
people love a good protest party.
yeah, exactly. People do love a good protest party, and yeah. Do you see what they were doing on the census forms?
All sorts of nonsense.
They're drawing. There's a picture that you could like a time capsule thing.
Yeah.
You could stamp a photo, or if you wanted to just draw on it, you could draw on it, I guess. And they're all drawing like Simpsons with slogans. Like there's one that was like Lisa Simpson's on the stage, and yous will never see this because yous don't exist because we can't have kids, afford to have kids or something like this. And then another was like Ralph picking his nose, like I am in danger. It's like really good. Yeah, I encourage everyone to go on the Irish Simpsons fan page and join it. Like it is quite funny.
Did you do anything on your time capsule?
I was in a different country for, so I didn't fill it out.
Yeah, but I'm sure they haven't picked it up yet.
Oh, well, I still have time.
Yeah, it's probably still in your house.
Oh, I'll go look for it.
I didn't write anything on mine, but there was one class when I seen where somebody wrote like, they're coming out the door, like I can hear them. They're coming down the hall.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd have. I think anything too witty to say in terms of time capsule.
Yeah, like I don't know what you'd put into it either.
Batman versus Superman was a good movie.
They'd probably be like, who versus who?
Exactly. Batman? What's a man?
Yeah. That's that word we're not allowed to say anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They used to say man all the time.
It'll all be just censored when it's released.
Well,
it'd be bat censor versus super censor.
Well, I've seen like a thing where Disney are actually dropping pronouns now, so they're not going to refer to anybody as male or female.
Ugh.
So, like, I don't know what Spider-Man going to be called.
Well, right, that's all well and good, but what about the people that want to be referred to by pronouns?
Tough shit, Ken. We're on the side of the 0.5%, not the 99.5.
This is that's the problem. Like, you're in an attempt to not offend one group of people, you're potentially offending another larger group of people.
Yeah, well, they had their time. Their time's over. It's now the 0.5, Ken. All hail the 0.5. I'm personally getting a 0.5 t-shirt.
Get tattooed. If you're really serious about it, why don't you get tattooed?
I'm actually going to get underwear that says just 0.5. So women just know.
Do you remember that thing with Moby? Was it Moby?
Yeah, it's vegan. It's vegan, like tattooed on his arm, joint letters or something like that.
No, I remember he used to write like stupid shit on his arm. Was that him?
Yeah, well, he has like a.
Or was it Chris Martin? Like he used to actually just get a pen and write stupid shit in his arm before he'd go out on stage. And people were like, if you really, really gave a fuck about any of this stuff, you'd actually get it tattooed.
Well, he has vegan for life now tattooed all down his arm.
Yeah, that's because he's a fool.
So he obviously listened to that person going, yep, you actually have a good point, sir. I am now getting tattooed of vegan.
Don't his tattoos look like fucking, what's your man's name? Iceman. Aren't they like that bad?
Iceman?
Yeah, is his name Iceman?
Chuck Liddell?
No, it's just like stupid guy.
Vanilla Ice?
No, I can't remember.
Ice Cube?
No.
I don't know any more ice people. Frosty the Snowman?
What the fuck is his name? He just has a lot of like, is it Cool Ice or something?
Coolio? Dr. Freeze?
Mr. Cool Ice.
Mr.
You never
Freeze?
seen that guy? I want to send you a photo of this guy.
Okay. Mr. Cool Ice.
Yeah, Mr. Cool Eyes.
It seems like a knockoff version of Mr. Freeze. You know those little push-up ice pops?
Where do you see this guy? There you go. Look at that guy.
Alright. Ken send me a photo. It's better not be pornographic. I've never seen this guy in my life.
You've never seen that guy before?
No, Mr. Cool Ice. He has a picture of a skeleton's head and arms on his chest and
his whole body
torso.
is just covered in Mr. Cool Ice. Like
With-
he has Mr.
Mr. Cool Ice
tattooed
tattooed. Yeah, and then he have ice and tattooed black letters on his forearms, really thick black letters, and it looks like he has a smaller tattoo on his both upper arms saying Mr. Cool Ice as well.
Yeah, but hang on, wait for it. It gets even better.
Yeah.
I want to send you a picture of his back.
All right. Our podcast has went a weird way that none of us we start talking about the stories where we have coming up on the podcast. Hey, okay, this is back of his head. He has obviously his head shaved. Obviously, you can't see it, and he looks like he has Cool Eyes tattooed on the top of his head, and a skeleton wearing a skull on the back of his head. And they have Mr. Cool Ice in really big letters across the shoulder blades with a picture of a skeleton once again wearing sunglasses. I think it's wearing sunglasses.
He's Mr. Cool Eyes.
But what's with the skeleton then? Shouldn't it be a snowman?
I don't know the fuck what
or a
he
snowflake?
Yeah, that's him.
All right.
I can't believe we've never seen him before.
And I would have thought Moby's a little bit more famous than Mr. Cool Eyes, so wouldn't he look like Moby rather than vice versa?
Well, Mr. Cool Eyes did it first.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And was he famous for anything other than being an absolute weirdo?
No, he's just famous for being a bellend.
Yeah, I was trying to find a word that perfectly describes him, and I think bellend fits it.
He's famous for having shit tattoos. That's basically what he's famous for.
Who else is kind of famous for having shite tattoos?
I don't know. Is there anybody really that's famous for having shite tattoos?
No, there's a lot of famous people with shite tattoos, I guess.
I just can't think of any right now off the top of my head, though.
Yeah. I know Amy Winehouse always had weird tattoos.
Yeah, they're just kind of old school, though, aren't they?
Yeah. I think it's probably just people who are like, yeah, I'll tattoo that on you. it was never thought out decision. It was kind of like some fucking guy had a tattoo gun. And she was like, yeah, sure, go for it.
Shoes off her face.
Yeah, exactly. Do it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
There's some UFC fighters with shocking tattoos.
Yeah, I remember Dana White did a video.
Yeah, he did a few videos. And he's like, he had no idea. And he was like, I don't know who these are. Like, I don't know who talked them into doing it. I always thought Conor McGregor's tiger on his fucking belly was weird.
The tiger on the belly doesn't bother. Like, at least it's a good tattoo. The gorilla annoys me.
The gorilla?
Yeah.
I guess that's his brand now. He's made his bad tattoo into a brand.
Yeah, I just think the gorilla's not very good.
Last week I
kind of like his tiger, like not for a fucking stomach tattoo, but at least it is well done. I think it is good.
Oh, it's well done, but yeah, I just think it's really bad placement for it. Especially since he has a gorilla on his chest. See, the gorilla doesn't bother me. I kind of get the gorilla,
and I think if you have to get your own name tattooed as well, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. I seen a girl before. She had she was young enough, and I pulled up to the lights, and I seen that she had Emma tattooed on her arm. I was like, is that because she might forget her name? In case missing, please come.
Yeah.
Who are you, Emma?
Yeah, who are you? Hang on till I check.
How long ago did I check my arm? That's a different person's name.
Like my cousin has his name and his nickname tattooed on his arm, and I'm like, why?
Nickname is you should be bullied. You have a nickname tattooed on your
Yeah,
arm.
like what is the fucking point of that?
Yeah, the worst is like this guy, and he could have got away with it for the whole entire dinner, but he tells people this. I think it's a conversation starter. But he had Fernando Torres tattooed in Elvish, so like in the language of Lord of the Rings, elves, on his arm because he's a Liverpool fan.
As you do, like
As you do. I think he spent 2 seasons at Liverpool. Like it's not like a club legend. Like there's certain players you could get tattooed, and for rest of history they'll be known as a club legend. But Fernando Torres is not a Liverpool club legend. Famous for eating people.
For eating people?
Yeah, he used to bite people. He had like three. He got suspended for a pretty long time, I think, for like biting people.
Yeah.
Talking about possibly being suspended, one of the things I was kind of glad of being off last week, because we would have been just flooded with this shit, was Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. And we would have had to, because everybody else was doing it, give our hot take on whether Will Smith and Chris Rock, what we thought of it. So, come back in today, I was like, grand, we got over the whole Will Smith thing. We didn't have to talk about Ken. One story. What was it, Will Smith? But this is like interesting take, because we're not going to give our hot take on it, because it wouldn't be hot first of all. Happened like over a week ago. Get over it. But there's now conspiracy theories about the Chris Rock smack, or Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. And you have conspiracy theories.
And they started pretty quick after it happened as well. Like it was the next day, I think, that I found these.
I guess if you want to be the first with a conspiracy theory, like I always said, like I would love to have a conspiracy theory. I just haven't put the time and effort into making a conspiracy theory to make it one believable. But it'd be so interesting. So it seems so easy to do. You just
make a random statement and then fill in the facts then to back up that statement.
Well, do you know, to make a good one, it has to be based off a partial truth, but completely misblown out of like that isn't proportional. If someone does a little bit of research, you go, "Oh my god, I found something about this."
Yeah, you really learned nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway. So, like, this is not just one conspiracy theory, right? You have 5 conspiracy theories. Our show could be called Will Smith Smacks Chris Rock, the conspiracy theory show. We've talked a lot of shit before then, but I think we're safe that we've other things on our podcast we've talked about, but there's still a lot of conspiracy theory about Will Smith.
Yeah.
All right.
And Chris Rock.
Yeah, and Chris Rock. Do you have stories?
Oh, do you want me to just go with it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be a bit late to do the intro now, Ken.
I thought you were still going to go through the running order and all that.
We're 20 minutes into the podcast, Ken.
Yeah, it's fine.
That ship has sailed.
Right, so
people have already stopped paying attention.
People have already turned into the other Shite Talk podcast.
For an actual historical shit.
Right, so the first theory of why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock was it was all Donald Trump's fault.
See that's things to do about it. Blame white people if anything happens.
Yeah, so according to people on Twitter, Donald Trump gave Will Smith his blessing to hit Chris Rock 10 years ago when he praised Will Smith for hitting a Ukrainian reporter who tried to kiss him at the Men in Black 3 premiere. Do you remember that? Do you remember when that happened?
No, I didn't. But
no,
you do a little bit of research and you find out this actually did happen.
Yeah, like this guy, Will Smith was at the premiere, and this guy, like, obviously tried to kiss him on the lips, and Will Smith slapped him.
All right, so his history of violence is what you're saying.
Yeah. So then, at the time, Donald Trump posted, and he posted a video, and he said, "Will Smith, I congratulate you. I only wish you'd hit him harder."
Fair enough.
And and then he So like apparently that's what gave Will Smith the balls to go up and, and slap Chris Rock on Sunday night because Donald Trump had his back.
Former President Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I don't think he even say former president. I think he's still called President Donald Trump.
yeah. Americans are weird, so they just keep saying president.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's President Obama. It's a former President Obama.
yeah. They just keep saying president.
In case there's two like former President Obamas, they have to go. Former President Obama was the first.
First, so the second conspiracy theory, which is a little bit more plausible, was that the slap was staged.
I heard this after by a number of people. I even seen breakdowns of this when like someone breaking down by frame and like praising like Will Smith's. They're like, this is how they show you how to slap a person, and you can see the arms flinging back, and you're like, and then you could hear the sound of the mic makes it louder.
Like I would have kind of went with this one, except for the whole he's after resigning from the academy and he's in trouble with them and stuff thing. But the theory goes, so obviously the Oscars have been in like viewership's in decline, like nobody really watches the fucking thing, and they obviously needed something to happen to get people to watch, and so they decided to have an impossible to predict viral moment. So the blah 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 blah. Chris Rock and Will Smith are both actors, and actors are trained to take a punch, so they have a fake fight. And there's a suggestion that Chris Rock was wearing a cheek pad to cushion the blow, right? And apparently, if you watch the awards ceremony in 8K resolution, you will see he had prosthetics on his face. And the camera angle was purposely shown at that camera angle to disguise the fact that he didn't make contact, and that's basically it.
See, I would have said it was fake too, but I would have said it after, like, until Will Smith went back down to the sea, and he was like, because he wouldn't have cursed. If it was staged, he would have kept everything without cursing. And he would like, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. And then Chris Rock would have come back with a witty kind of line. I know all Chris Rock was like, it was a G.I. Jane joke. He like instantly started defending it. Like, in terms of it. Like, he was like, so like when I started hearing that theory, because I did hear it quite quickly on. Like, I went to training the next morning. Well, when I woke up, obviously it was on during the night over here. There's two people in training, because it was morning time, and we were talking about, and like we were like, well, we wouldn't be talking about if the slap didn't happen, we wouldn't be talking about the Oscars, and no one really cares about it. We were basically saying this ourselves. So like, I think that was maybe a thought about people across people's minds, like, would it be beyond the Oscars to do a fake viral moment? Definitely not. I'm pretty sure it's probably been tried before. But I don't know, like, in terms of, like, I think it was genuine. In fact, like you said, he was resigned.
Yeah, like I initially I did think it was fake, but I'm starting to lean more towards it was genuine. So the next conspiracy theory is that it was a deep state signal, right? So this one is the QAnon, remember them lads?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they're back. So Marjorie Taylor Greene basically said that the Oscars is a nest of vipers for string-pulling lizard men, and that the slap was a distraction, and something big is about to drop in America, and it was all just staged to boost ratings and make everybody talk about Will Smith and Chris Rock and stop talking about President Trump.
So they, like, governments do this, like, they'll make an issue, an uproar, and then try to sneak in a bill. So but like, in terms of, they'll like talk about, the crazy stir about price of housing or something like that, and everybody like, oh, price of housing, blah, 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 and then be sneaking at the same time, they'd be sneaking in a bill about something else under the radar that people aren't talking about. they'll kind of disguise stuff like that. So that wouldn't surprise me. The fact that they got the slap, everybody's calming down, and it's going to happen in like a few days' time. Like, usually if you're going to distract people, you happen why people are distracted. You don't wait till they're back being like focused or concentrated and then try to pull something. Like that would, like, surely would have already happened. Like if the slap was a distraction, then the scene would have already happened, and we'd be like, how did he do that?
This conspiracy gets even better, right? Because a QAnon guy called Great Awakenings
Yep.
said that this is where it comes in, that it's a deep state signal. He said that it's a message to operatives to go to Plan B, right? So he said that it's not a fake incident, but it's a clone because Will Smith has been dead for years.
He was killed on the set of Wild Wild West, which is actually a Superman movie.
so there you go.
Yeah. So Will Smith technically was the first ever black Superman. Get over yourself. Happened in the 90s.
Yeah, so that's that one.
But he's dead. So get over that as well.
The next one is that it was a neo-Nazi false flag.
A neo-Nazi false flag? Alright.
Yeah. And it's basically something to do with... Hang on, blah, blah, blah. It's part of President Zelensky's information fight back against the Russian invasion.
He ordered Will Smith to smack a host for slagging his wife about being bald.
Yeah, it's a smokescreen to distract from the atrocities being carried out by the National Guard of Ukraine, who are known for fierce fighting skills and, as some people allege, their Nazi affiliations. Only one person now has been going on about this. It's some guy called Max Blumento. He's editor-in-chief of a blog called The Grey Zone, and he said that the slap was just in time for the flood of atrocity videos, and he posted some red dress girl meme, and that's basically it, yeah.
So basically the neo-Nazis in Ukraine, sorry.
Yeah.
Were basically going to carry out their own atrocities while Will Smith was slapping Chris Rock. We were like, okay, sorry, Ukraine, we're kind of busy right now. And then we were, once that all died out, and we're like, okay, Ukraine, Russia's now retreating. Holy shit, what, all these dead bodies? And this was neo-Nazis in Ukraine.
Yeah, that's basically that, yeah.
All right.
That's basically how that theory goes.
All right.
And then the last one is that the slap was a Scientologist ritual.
He was really saying thank you.
Yeah, so like Will Smith's always denied that he's a member of the Church of Scientology. Nobody really knows if he is or not. And Chris Rock definitely isn't. But people on Twitter, again, have been saying that Will Smith's lack of control was a relapse into his Scientological conditioning. Max Burns, who's a political commentator, said, "The slap is much less interesting when you realize Will Smith went through the Scientology courses that teach you to unapologetically use slaps and physical force to let a fellow Scientologist know when they've done something wrong. In that fact, under Scientology, Smith's slap of Chris Rock was the only acceptable response to what Rock did. In Scientology, inaction over disrespect is grounds to get yourself slapped by a higher ranking Scientologist."
Yeah, I did see one thing about another one about them saying that it's white men shouldn't be criticizing it or something like this. It was like oppression of
white people shouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's they're trying to make a roundabout way in terms of this is what led to Will Smith smacking like Chris Rock.
Yeah, I think more than likely, though, the most logical explanation is that it was just a slap.
Yeah, it was a slap. And I did see one person show that Will Smith actually laughed after the joke. So so Chris Rock makes a joke, Will Smith laughs, and then his wife is not looking happy, giving fucking Chris Rock the daggers. And then as soon as she hears Will Smith start laughing, she straight away looks over at him and is like really angry, and they have like a bit of a conversation, and then he gets up and goes up and smacks him. So maybe he's like, here, I'll stick up for you, and it's like, I know what will get me back into good books.
Although I would have to admit that I probably would have done the same thing.
Well,
I probably would have slapped Chris Rock.
Would you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I probably would have slapped him.
Like everyone makes jokes. Like if you what if you're at a comedy show and somebody made that joke? Would you go up and slap the comedian? Because like then like where do you stop from there? Like
it depends on the situation. Like Chris Rock claims he didn't. Chris Rock definitely knew what the crack was there.
Oh yeah, no. Chris Rock definitely knew about the G.I. Jane thing. He knew, but he's also there to be a comedian and slag off people. Like he's there to make fun of people. So like, if you are going to be in a room where there's a comedian making jokes and he slags off some guy over here, some girl over here, and then he makes a joke, you can't instantly start getting offended. Then don't go to places where you might be offended. Don't put you in situations where you're easily offended.
Or you could follow the Ricky Gervais thing and not make fun of things people can't change.
People can't change a lot of things, but people can't change them being dumb.
Yeah, they can.
I wouldn't say so. Yeah, but it was a joke, and like you can't be like you can't have people being up on stage making jokes and people getting up and starting physical violence, because what's that to stop a person who disagrees with a joke about a woman getting up and attacking a comedian on stage, or something about Catholicism and someone getting, or in France where fucking people got offended by a caricature of Muhammad, so they blew up the building. Like you can't have these things be allowed. You can't justify violence for being offended. Like the reactional thing is to go up after the show to Will Smith and say, "Hey, that wasn't fucking cool. My wife is really upset about that. She can't change that condition." And just say, "Here, that wasn't on," and just say it to him. Then he'll be like, "I really apologize." You don't go up and smack him live on stage and be like, "Get my wife's name out of her face," and then start laughing at other jokes by other people.
I would have smacked him.
I just think you're right. She needs to be able to take a joke. Like people need to be able to laugh at themselves. Like you shouldn't be like. Then you can't get offended when people get offended by any other thing, or when a person shoots up a concert for someone criticizing their religion, because like people feel as passionately about that as they do about their hair. Probably more so.
Maybe.
Like yeah, so like people are always putting the French flag after the French atrocities. Like, we stand with them, and then are like, "Oh, I support him for sticking up for his life." I was like, you don't see the progression? Like, where do you stop after a smack? What if you kicked him? What if I Steven Seagal? What?
Kick him all you want.
Like, you don't use physical violence.
It depends on the situation, though.
Like, okay, other than your wife being offended at a show where there's a comedian telling jokes at people where he's told to roast people.
Again, it depends though, because Chris Rock, he definitely knew what was going on. Like, it's different going to, if they were nobodies going to a show and it happened, then you'd kind of be like, look, the comedian didn't know.
But like the thing about it was such a niche joke, it wouldn't be like everyone. He didn't out or about being fucking bald. Like most, I think 99 people would have went over their heads. Like of what the joke was actually about. It's kind of maybe just reference maybe a few people on the inner circle making a joke about it. Like I don't think anybody would have known like, oh, that G.I. Joe joke is actually about her going bald. And it blah blah blah. Like someone would have to sit down. Like we wouldn't be talking about this. And like he was told to go out there, and he's like, go out there and kind of lightly make fun of everybody in the audience. So he's going up there, and he's off the cuff going, okay, I'll slag him there. This, oh, I know Will Smith's wife's in the audience. I made a G.I. Joe joke, and like doesn't think and he says he's probably friends with Will Smith. That's why he probably knew about the condition. And
I think this fell out years ago, though, didn't they? They were friends for years, and then they fell out.
Yeah, but like, I don't think like he'd been like his job was to go out there and roast people on the audience. So his job was to go out, like, so you're smacking him for doing his job, because like every year a comedian gets up there and roasts the audience. If it crossed the line, say it to him after. You don't go up on the middle of the stage while he's at work, being paid to do that and be told to do that. Go up and hit him over. I think that's where it's different. Like, if a guy had said something that really offended my girlfriend over, I would have confronted him straight away. If he's on stage and he's doing his job and it's a show, that's a completely different thing. Like off of content, if someone's offended, I'd be here, cop onto yourself. But if it's in a show, I'm kind of like, here to see that, like, we're here to you're gonna be made fun of. You kind of have to accept that might be a thing. You can't be too fucking sensitive about things. But if someone obviously said it, like, and we're just at a party and he's trying to be funny, I'd be like, here, cop onto yourself.
But then you also have to ask the question, how come it's acceptable then to get offended over certain things, and it's not acceptable to get offended over that?
What?
Like, you have to ask the question, how come like people are allowed to get offended over some things and not?
See, I think people can get offended. She could get offended. I don't think people can use violence to justify them being offended.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction and all that crack.
Yeah, but do you think that was an equal reaction? Like,
well, there's also the, chat shit, get banged.
There's also sticks and stones may break my bones, but lies will never hurt me, or words will never hurt me.
Yeah, or sticks and stones will break my bones, but a shotgun will blow your head off.
The thing is, like, here, words are just words. Don't let them hurt you. Whereas if someone hit you with a stick, it would.
Like, but the thing is that words affect people differently.
Words do affect people differently, but you're at a comedy show. Like, it's the whole thing of you're at a show where a person's been told out to be like this. We literally sent out there to do this as their job, and you're at that show, so you're accepting that. Like, okay, if you go to a fight and you're accepting that person's going to punch you in the face, and that other person is going to accept you punch in the face. In any other society, that wouldn't be acceptable. But that's the situation. Whereas when you go to a comedy show, or if you're at a award show and there's a comedian there who's been told to go out and roast you, that's his job, to go out and roast you. By sitting in that seat, you've accepted that you might be slagged off. So you can't then get offended by a comedian doing his job that you've went to see. Like, it'd be a different situation if they were at a party, everyone's sitting around, there's friends around there, and he starts going on about her being bald. Like, if that happened at a party and like we're all mates, and I'd probably smack Will Smith over that. I'd be like, here, cop onto yourself. And he probably would have deserved it. But the fact that we're at a comedy show or a award show and this happened, it's not acceptable to act like that way. Whatever about saying something to him after and saying, here, that's not cool.
I just still think, like, particularly, like, it's not a comedy show. So, like, particularly when it's something that the people there, like, they have no choice but to sit through fucking Chris Rock.
Well,
like,
no, but like,
okay, he's gonna like haze people and he's gonna say things, but
it
like,
was a haze. It was a light haze.
Yeah, but like, keep it to things that, like, she can't help that. Like, keep it to things that people, like, don't make fun of things that people can't change.
Like, what do you slag people about? Like, you can't draw a line and say, here's safe content, here's not safe content. It was a very, like...
Well, you do that every time, even when you go to a comedy gig, you're doing that. You're drawing, here's safe content.
No, well, not really.
There's always like, here's safe content, here's not safe content.
No, like, comedians say the whole time, they only really know where the line is by going over sometimes. And sometimes you have to risk going over the line to know where the line is. and the
Yeah,
audience,
like comedians won't make racist jokes.
no, well, some of them do. They'll touch on, like, a lot of comedians touch on race. A lot of comedians touch on race.
Comedians won't make there's a lot of things they don't joke about.
They do. There's any comedian will test the lines of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, because that's usually where the humor is. And any comedian will say to you, you have to risk going over the line and offending people to know where the line, or to in order to work in their space. And people who go to those go to like award shows where they know a person is going to go around the audience and roast people. Like you said, it's not a comedy show. Every award show, that every Oscar has this in it. Like you always talk about what you call your man Ricky Gervais, who roasts everybody, and it's a viral moment every year of him like putting down celebs. Like this, like you have to accept, like, when these award shows go on, that there is going to be a comedian. He's been told. They're not just doing it off randomly. Everything's scripted of what they have to do and say. And they're like, all right, go out and roast the audience. Go and make a few jokes with a few people in the audience. And a lot of these jokes, like in terms of who's going out there, he's probably went over some materials. He's probably like, okay, Will Smith is here. This is here, this is here, this is here. And he's probably went over and he's probably went through this with editors or producers, and producers who said, yeah, cool. So it's probably not only Chris Rock that has okayed that joke. It's probably other people in there. Like, I'd say they look over the material. If not, like, you're still participating in the audience where a person is going out and be told to do their job, which is being a comedian and make fun of people. You can't attack them for doing their job. Something they're being paid to do. It
was so much other stuff that he could have said about them.
There's so much other, but there's so much other stuff. No, so many other people in the audience he could have said stuff about. Like, it's the risk that you sit there when you sit as an audience member in a comedy place, and I don't care if it's an award ceremony, it's still a person being told out to go and do comedy and roast people, because he is doing his job, and you should know as a comedian that sometimes, because you have to go where the line is, you're going to cross it. And Chris Rock maybe didn't think he was crossing it, but he did.
So that's the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, so much about not getting into the whole Will Smith smacking Chris Rock.
That went well.
I would have. I'm surprised by the whole. I would have smacked him.
Yeah, I would have smacked him.
Anyway, anywho.
So
actually, so the most universally loved smell is.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to take a guess what it is?
I had a guess, right? So my guess for this is that it is either baby powder or like that new baby smell.
No, it's people's own farts.
That would have been number 3, but that's a very niche smell.
People love their own farts. No, it isn't people's farts, but people do love their own farts.
Like that's extremely niche.
Everyone sniffs the toilet roll. No, I don't. Definitely don't do that. No, it's...
Do people love the smell of their own farts?
No, I don't think people do love it, but they're not like sickened by their own farts. Actually, I knew.
I don't know now. There's been once or twice.
Yeah, I remember after like a night out of drinking Guinness, and I farted just after getting out of the shower. And I think there's something about when the room's full of steam and you fart, it's like it's somehow more potent.
Is this when you washed yourself wrong?
Yeah, it was after I washed myself wrong. Clearly,
after you washed yourself wrong.
Yeah, I clearly always washed myself wrong. And I got out of the shower, and just as I left the shower cubicle, I farted, and oh my God, I actually, like, I felt like I was going to get sick. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So
that's just horrific.
So, like, one of the interesting, before I go and tell you what the actual interesting thing about this was, they're like, why people prefer different things, like 2% cultural and 58 or or maybe it was 98, or maybe it was 2% cultural. But it's broken up down in terms of percentages why you like certain smells. So it's basically majority thing is like based off ancestry or basically where you're born or something like this, and then 2% is like kind of the culture that what you're into, or the kind of monkey brain stuff that
was this on the was this on the new census form?
yeah, this is where I got it from. Yeah, but like first of all, they had weird things that they smell. So the researchers were from Sweden and the UK. It was from some college in Sweden and Oxford University, and it was a very small sample size of 235 people who were in the study, and they're given different fragrances to smell, and one was like a vagina candle, and there was like so many bizarre. See, this is the thing is like, where did they get all the things that they're going to smell? Like, where was one was like garlic, because people love to smell garlic. Like, did they do a separate study where they sent around different colleges, what are your favorite smells? And people said vaginas were one, so they brought in the vagina smell. There's one that was like meant to smell like blood. It was like blood and tears was another one to sense. And I was like, where is petrol in all this? Because I like the smell of petrol.
Now, yeah, like just
and
so much fucked up shit going on there.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't like, one of the big questions is like, how did it break down of what are going to be the things that the people are going to smell in the study? And it wasn't like, it was obviously an article of the study, not the study itself. So there's probably a lot of things. Maybe they only did a very light summary of it, and then they broke down in terms of, I don't know, it was like they said between hunter gatherers and urban dwellers was the kind of the two types of people that they were looking at. And it's like, why didn't you just go men and women and people across this as well as people in America, South America, Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, and all the other Pacifics?
Guys, that's logical.
To see like, is there a difference between what men find fragrant to what women find? And the obvious answer would be probably. So anyway, the most universal love smell in the world is vanilla.
Vanilla?
Yeah, vanilla came in. The sweet fragrance of vanilla came out on top of all the percentages tasks. The favorite smells is vanilla.
Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. I read that. Fuck that. Fuck this. Fuck everything about this story. Fuck you. And I couldn't find any other fucking stories. I was like, I'll throw it in as a light talking point at the start of the show.
Fucking vanilla.
Yeah, it was the most fucking waste of time study I've ever read in my life. And
where did popcorn rank in all of this?
I don't know, but like, vanilla ranked behind garlic. I love the smell of garlic.
Oh no, fuck you and garlic.
I remember there was a guy, we were working at a place that made garlic bread, and you could smell it from outside, and we were obviously outside, and he goes, I'm so hungry, I could smell fucking garlic bread for the entire time I was here. And he goes, yeah, I even hate garlic bread, and I'm fucking starving. Even a person that doesn't like garlic bread actually likes the smell of garlic, but he didn't necessarily say that. He could have just been hungry.
Garlic is a bit rotten.
Yeah, another one is like, coffee is like, I know people who hate coffee but love the smell of coffee.
I don't like coffee, but the smell is nice.
Yeah, and like, the smell doesn't smell anyway the way it tastes.
Yeah, it smells nice and it tastes rotten.
It smells nice and it tastes like spite. That's why I'm surprised you don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like coffee at all.
Yeah, but like, that's just like, Irish people, we like our food tasting like spite. That's what I really kind of realized. And
misery. Don't forget misery.
Spite and misery is what we kind of like in our fragrance. So like a rotten potato probably would be up there for Irish people if like cultural. Good smell of a rotten potato. Silage. Where does silage rank? Because like, Guinness is a very bitter tasting drink, and it's like our favorite drink. Then we like burnt coffee. like really burnt roast coffee is
like burnt toast is good.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like this really harsh tasting stuff. Because we're in a coffee place while I was away, and there's all these coffees from around the world, and like I always get Americano, and like she says, why don't you get anything other than Americano? And I was like, I don't like my coffees tasting like milk or sweet or syrups can get fucked. I fucking hate syrups. And I'm not getting any syrups. You can fuck off all the syrup shite. Stop coffee. People are starting to look at me, having a rant about how much I hate syrups and coffee. And I was like, I just want my Americano. And then, another thing about Hungary doesn't know what a fucking Americano is because they're uncultured fucks.
Anyway, let's really hope that your girlfriend doesn't listen to the podcast. That might cause some offense. To see if your slap is justified or not.
I won't ever offend you. I won't ever defend you. And I think your people are uncultured. Yeah, but there's some other reason why I also thought Ireland people likes bitter foods. But I can't really think of what it is.
We go mad for lemons.
We want something that tastes like as spiteful as we are.
Yeah, lemons for everything.
No, like lemons aren't spiteful; they're sour. We're not sour.
They're fucking spiteful as well.
They're not like. There's a difference between like. Oh, I think it was tea as well because our tea's like dark tea. It's like it's bitter. It's not sweet tea.
Lemons look at you there, and lemons go, "Look at me, look at me. I look like I'm a lovely cousin of an orange, but I'm gonna fuck you up."
Oh, fuck you! I'm gonna ruin your fucking pancake.
Yeah, just out of spite.
Out of spite and out of fucking. I don't know what. But anyway, I don't know how we got back onto that. Let's move on to our next story. Here's one that you probably should know the answer to, being that your wife is a dental nurse.
Yeah.
But there's a TikToker called Jess, and she is blowing people's mind by her toothbrush facts that she's laid on people on TikTok.
And like, how has she come up with these?
No idea. Did very little research. Left to the last minute. So she's basically sharing people the meaning behind the different color bristles on your toothbrush. So do you ever see a toothbrush and there's like load of different colors and there's different shapes on the toothbrush?
Yeah.
Almost you get ones that are plain, but you also get ones where there's like maybe a triangle or a circle or there's plastic bits.
Yeah.
So I think the plastic bits are to get in between your teeth. I think they're just for more abrasion. She didn't go into that much detail, but she said there's a little kind of triangle at the front of the toothbrushes, and that's for how much toothpaste to put on your brush. So you fill that little section at the top of your toothbrush, and that's when you stop like putting toothbrush. You don't do what most people do, is put a long line of strip of toothpaste on their brush and start brushing their teeth.
Well, I knew that bit.
All right, so that's basically all she did.
You're supposed to use toothpaste. You're not supposed to use any toothpaste bigger than the size of a pea.
I've heard the size of the pea thing, but then I was like, okay, size of the pea that's been crushed and dragged. How I have interpreted that my whole life.
How are we defining a pea?
What's happened to this pea in the time it got onto my toothbrush? It's been beaten and dragged across the brush.
I stood on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I don't know. I don't know if there's actually like a fucking design on your toothbrush to tell you how to do that.
Well, if you look on some toothbrushes, because obviously some of them are just plain, there will be a design at the front of the toothbrush, and that section's where you put your toothpaste, and you stop there. But yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask an expert.
I get that. Like, Hopefully you're one on TikTok. Who knew I don't think internet lies, Ken. I think it's only based on proof and facts and nothing
No,
else.
the internet's the truth.
The whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Good God.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's another thing. We were talking about stuff and I don't know. I think something came up. I don't know what it was about. But they're like, oh, where did you hear that? And I was like, I think I watched a YouTube video about it. And they're like, YouTube video. I'm like, okay, there is conspiracy theories on YouTube, but there's also like I've learned how to video edit on YouTube. Like you can also learn things that are facts based, and there's actually doctors and there's nutritionists and there's sciencey people on YouTube as well. It's not all those conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there's also fake doctors pretending they're doctors, but they're not really doctors.
Yeah, like you have to tread a cross line. I think it was. Oh, I know what it was. So yeah, you might know the answer to this. You might be able to go, oh, this is the thing. So if you're in the middle of a flight, let's say you're going from England to US, but it's Aer Lingus flights. The plane is registered in Ireland because Aer Lingus is an Irish company. For some reason, it's leaving from Britain, even though Ireland's closer, and we have a kind of agreement that if you're going over from Ireland to Europe, you go through our Shannon. I think that's is that a thing.
Thing or not, I'll go with it.
Yeah. Okay, let's just talk like I know what I'm talking about. I think what I was saying is like if a crime's committed on that plane, it's under the Irish dictionary because like that plane is like a vessel of Irish. That's like since you're on wherever the plane is registered, that's the country you're technically in until you land in the plane, out the plane, until you get off the plane. Then you're in the United States, or if you're in Britain, you're in Britain. But when you get on the plane, you're in Ireland, technically in a kind of weird way that if you're in like embassy, you're technically in a different country than one you're actually in.
I think it's kind of true. I think.
Yeah, they said no, that's definitely not true. I don't know.
I know the pilot is the one that determines whether or not like you've broken a law.
Yeah. Oh, I think there are certain laws that you're not allowed to do in the air, like punch a hostess.
I've seen it done.
You're not meant to. It's like getting on planes with Will Smith. But like so like I don't know, like I take it like if something like that happened, what normally happens is the plane lands in the nearest airport, the person's taken off the plane and arrested by whatever country you're in. So like I think that's the way it's actually handled. I don't know if people go, back to Ireland you go.
I seen when I went to Italy a few years ago, some guys tried to open the emergency exit while we were flying.
Oh yeah, everyone's had that cross their mind when they're sitting at that door. Why have I opened this? I'm not actually going to do it, but imagine I did. You're just
like you can't actually, like, scientifically you can't actually open the emergency exit while the plane is still flying.
You've just sent a challenge amongst our listeners.
Why?
They're going to be on the plane. Oh, can I not, Ken?
Yeah, well, you can't. But
oh, really?
these guys anyway tried to do it, and they were from a very big college based in Kildare. That's where they originally from. And they tried to do that, and then when the plane landed, the pilot was like, "Oh, there's a hold up at the terminal, so we just have to sit here on the runway for a minute." And everybody was like, "All right, fair enough, whatever." And then we were sitting there for like half an hour, and then he moved to the terminal, and then he was like, "Oh, there's a problem now with getting the stairs up to the exit door, so we have to wait here for a minute." And then the cop cars arrived, and then the lads that tried to open the door like started apologizing, and they were like, "Oh no, like don't let us get arrested by foreign police.
Ah.
And then the door opened, and I could only describe this man as a tank walked on, and he just goes, "You up now,"
Ah.
and off they went.
Off to went to jail.
And they got held. I can't remember. I worked with somebody who knew one of them.
Yeah.
They got held in the airport and questioned for like an hour and a half, put on a plane and sent back to Ireland.
All right. But like they weren't then prosecuted in Ireland if it was an Irish flight.
They were what airline? It was Ryanair. They were banned from Ryanair and they were given a fine in Italy, and they got a fine when they got back home too.
They got 2 fines. All right.
Yeah, so they got 2 fines and they're banned from Ryanair.
Oh yeah, I think what we were arguing it was like whether they thought it was the plane, it was either the country you're coming from or the country you're going to, and it's like it depends where you are on the flight, whichever is closer, or if you land in a different country, you might be prosecuted. But you can then be asked to be prosecuted by an Irish authority if you're Irish, or the one that your plane lands in. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily you can just pick which country you get, like, because like different laws would like differentiate between different people. Like Ireland, like I think life is like 18 years, whereas in America it's like 120 years. So like if you murder someone on a plane and you're like, Ireland, please. Like they have the death penalty. I'm going back home.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah. Get me out of here. Be out after 5 years on good behaviour.
Apparently, as well, people die on planes more than you think.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
How many people die on planes?
I don't know how many, but I was told by an air hostess that it's a lot more than you think.
All right. A lot more than you think.
Yeah, and they have like a code word for it. Like they say, I can't remember what it is. Most airlines have like special code words so that people don't kind of cop them. They're like, they don't really, each airline has a different one. And she worked for Aer Lingus, I think. And if somebody died in the plane, they would ask for Mr. White. They asked if a Mr. White like was on the plane, and then they was like, they covered him in a white blanket. It's basically what they would do.
I think the white blanket might be giving away what Mr. White is.
Yeah, they just like they move the people that are sitting directly beside the dead person, and they just lie the person down on a seat, and they just cover him with a white blanket.
Do you know, like, swimming pools, talking about weird things? Like, this podcast is fucking random as fuck. But one of my friends is a personal trainer, and like I think a part of like where he works, you have to do a lifeguard course. People have been in any pools. It looks like the most boring job in the world, like in terms of you probably never save a person. But the amount of kids that die in pools is like would probably surprise you, Ken.
It wouldn't surprise me because I nearly died during swimming lessons.
All right, so it probably wouldn't surprise you, but surprises me. Like one of the bodies that they found, like they only realized because they have to clean the pool every day, so they drain the water out. I know it wasn't until they drained the water out that I realized there was a dead kid down there.
That's fucked up.
This is not where he worked now.
So this is definitely where he worked.
And then I think another time, some other kid drowned, and they only realized when their like parent came looking for him or some weird thing like that.
So what did your friend be doing while all these kids are drowning?
He wasn't on guard or anything like that, but I think he was telling me when he had to, because I was like, have you ever had to fucking save anybody? And he's like, yeah, I had to save 1 or 2 kids, all right. And then he got into like the horror stories of like kids being found after the pool is cleared out. Generally, they're only found like when the pool settles down, when there isn't any kind of like body.
My old primary school teacher, she used to be a lifeguard on Bondi Beach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Was
she
she
used
ever
to tell us stories
TV?
about when we were like kids. No, it was before they done that fucking TV show. Like it was years ago. Like she was my teacher in the '90s, so like you're probably talking like the '70s or the fucking '80s maybe.
Did she watch Baywatch and be like,
That's
yes?
why she used to tell us the stories. Because Baywatch was massive at the time, and she used
Yeah.
to tell us stuff.
Baywatch only
Because
hit
of
Ireland in
Baywatch.
the 90s.
Yeah.
All right, so we probably ran out a bit of time, but I'm going to get on this story because I wanted to talk about it because it's about aliens, and I am on a mission to prove to Ken that we're not in a simulation and that in fact aliens are real.
Won't happen.
So I found some evidence, Ken. Some factual based evidence from the fucking motherfucking Pentagon. So take that in your pipe and fucking smoke it. Evidence from the actual Pentagon that the report basically look at claims by people after they've been abducted by aliens. So one claim is that a woman became pregnant after an encounter by a UFO. And there's like radiation burns as well as like one of the other ones.
Yeah. I'm definitely not going to believe this.
So basically, this all happened when the Sun, which is a newspaper, asked for freedom of information about this report. They obviously heard about a report about UFOs, about people being abducted by aliens, and they asked for, because of freedom of information, they asked for this report off the US government, and they eventually got it.
Do you know what I would love? I would love if somebody in the Pentagon was just trolling.
I don't know if they necessarily can troll. I think they'd have to go to a lot of work because they'd have to make a document look official. They'd have to have like a lot of Tipex here and there, and they have to be like,
any fucking Pentagon, they can make documents look official. They just have to fucking write them on official headed paper.
You wonder what they were meant to do when they were like trying to make this like maybe 200-page document look official.
This is why terrorist attacks happen, right?
Because someone in the Pentagon wanted to do something for the laws.
Somebody in the Pentagon is not doing their job.
Yeah, so like
they had a bet with their friend, and their friend said, "Here, could you make this newspaper think that there's a fucking alien out there that's got 3 heads and a big Mickey?"
So yeah, some journalists came looking for UFO abduction things. They're like, hold on, I got it for you afternoon, and they're typing this up. It's what you're saying, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to prove to you that aliens do exist, and now isn't exactly. It's a bit of a mixed bag, based like so you don't know what you're going to get when an alien abducts you, based off these claims.
Right, go on.
So if you bump into an alien and you suddenly find yourself being abducted, you could have magical powers. You could have the ability to do transport to anywhere in the world. You could possibly be able to read people's minds. You could also be raped and then have an alien baby. So it's a bit of a lottery, basically, based off this. So these are all the claims. So like people have claimed that they can now read people's minds, that they can teleport, and that this is an alien's baby.
Okay, well, all 3 of those things are easily proven.
Yeah, it's like that guy before. Like he said to me, he couldn't feel pain. So I will submit him.
You will submit him, or the guy who said that he has flexible shoulders, and a Kimura proved that to be incorrect.
Yeah, so I think it was like a 1,500-page defense document. It was called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, or AATIP, and
ATIP.
for short, yeah. So basically, in terms of not all of them, but some of the things that people have felt was their loss of eyesight or something being injected into their eyes, burns, and not amnesia, loss of their voice, insomnia, dizziness, sexual encounters, a lot of sexual encounters, I'm sure, significant odors, levitation, hair loss, and even death. I don't know who filed the report that they died to the department, or whatever it is, the Pentagon, but they did. They filed, I died. I am now dead.
Yeah, but
I'm now writing to you from the grave, and I died. So these are all the things that happen to people when they were abducted by aliens. What do you think so far?
I think so far it's a complete and utter load of bollocks.
But like, do you know, like the governments around the world do this all the time, where they ask people to report symptoms, like if a drug comes out, like the vaccine. They did it with people that said, here, if you have any side effects from the vaccine, here's a website, go on and report your side effects. And people were reporting that they were turning green and getting incredibly angry, basically turning into the Hulk. And like people are just taking piss. People are like, I don't have to actually have this, and I can just type it away. I can be a troll. So like, anytime a government agency says that, hey, we're taking data on basically alleged like fucking alien encounters, people are going to be like, okay, give it the phone. I'm ringing these people.
Like, people troll everything. Like, even when there's like if there's a murder inquiry or a kid gone missing, and they're like, here, call this number if you have info, people will always ring and say, oh yeah, I seen them down the shop there last week.
Yeah, exactly. People just kind of want the attention. People want someone.
He was buying Mars bars.
Yeah, people kind of want them to come down and just have a conversation with somebody sometimes. So it's interesting enough that the Sun requested this information in December 2017, but it was only released to them this year, and it wasn't fully released. It was most of the documents, but there was a lot of the documents were not released for it wasn't classified.
They're probably like, why the fuck does this British newspaper want this information about Americans?
Well, maybe the Sun has an American section. There's American Sun.
I don't know.
Yeah, so there is probably a good bit of information. There's probably like, if I was the US government,
you have to wonder though, like when 2017, what was going on in 2017? Like,
they're getting ready for the pandemic.
Yeah, but like there was let's see, big news stories.
Donald Trump got elected.
2017.
We were too fixated on Donald Trump.
Right, so Donald Trump got elected. What the fuck else is going on? It's all American crap.
Yeah.
North Korea. There was tensions with North Korea. Right, so there was a possible war thing going to happen there. The whole Me Too thing. There was a massacre in Las Vegas. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and meanwhile the Sun are going, aliens.
But like, there's certain things that are coming up for because they're only allowed to hold them onto them for 10 years, isn't it? Or a certain amount of years. So,
yeah, I don't know if it's 50 or 100.
No, I think but in terms of other things we declassified, like there's a certain amount of time that they're allowed to hold on. So there's someone probably waiting. They have a list of things that are being declassified this year. So they're waiting to get all the juicy bits from this. So as soon as that day comes up, December, whatever, they're like, okay, this is on December, the US are going to declassify these papers. So I'm going to set in a request straight away for them to have a read of them, because there could be a story in this. So I'm pretty sure there's probably someone there in newspapers who are, or maybe someone who works there is just kind of fascinated by aliens, and they're like, hey, I think Donald Trump said something about aliens. I think he got this whole ball rolling.
Yeah, well, that alone should fucking tell you everything you want to know about it.
But yeah, like there is still like some information that was kept secret, and that part of it is going to what fuels conspiracy theories for years to come. But like, if you were to say so deceit in population about them not being aliens, and there's been no such thing of aliens, what would you do? You would release a load of crazy sounding stories that people just made up and be like, yeah, we collected this information, but it was more of a like, oh, we kind of have to do it. They report it out as a thing. We'll say we investigate. We'll take the report and see if anything matches up. But these people are probably just crazy.
Yeah, like they're 100% fucking crazy.
And like a lot of people back in whenever, like after Roswell, there was a lot of people reporting. There's a whole thing of like UFO reports. Some government official has broken ties, and now he says he's in fear for his life.
Yeah, like the fucking Roswell people are crazy too.
But look at your man, the Air Force pilot who's come out and said we were sent to look at this thing, and I haven't seen anything. And then the US government said, yeah, we actually are investigating reports of unidentified flying aircrafts that we have no idea.
Yeah, but the thing that people forget is unidentified flying aircrafts aren't just fucking aliens.
But yeah, what they're saying, there's like, okay, there's two ways of looking at it. They're like, either the Soviet Union, China, or possibly some other country is light years ahead of where we are with our aviation technology, and that's a really big problem. Or there's an alien force is like hiding in around the world. Like there's like neither of those things are good outcomes. There's no like, oh, it's only the Chinese.
Yeah, but one is more plausible than the fucking other one.
Well, he said like in terms of like ability to maneuver that fast, go down that many flights, and then disappear. He said he knows nothing that can like do that. Like I don't know. I'm at the point where I was like, I actually don't have enough information about this to make it, but I'm open to the idea that there's aliens. I'm open to the idea. I think most people, after they heard like basically a US government said, yeah, we're actually inviting things, we have no idea what they are. They could possibly be alien.
I don't know. I just think it's all a bunch of fucking crackpots.
I remember that crazy guy, the Israeli guy. He's like, yeah, we have meetings with them. Like, I don't know if necessary. I believe the meetings happen, but maybe.
Like, I don't know. Crackpots
And crazy people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should call our show.
Maybe. Which one do you want to be? You want to be the crackpot or the crazy person?
I'll be the crazy person.
That makes me the crackpot.
Yeah. I don't know which one's more accurate. I don't know if I'm the more crackpot, believing in conspiracy theories, and you're the crazy person for listening to me for an hour and a half, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. No, nothing will ever convince me the whole fucking aliens coming to Earth thing.
Unless RT has an alien on TV going.
Yeah, like I just think it's all fucking nonsense.
And I think the whole fucking ginger Viking story possibly could be plausible.
Ginger Viking story? I can't remember that one.
It's where gingers come from. That they are a spawn of sexy red-headed aliens and Vikings fucking riding.
I remember it now.
The dirty hills of West Clare.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you can be the crackpot.
And you're the crazy person.
Yeah, that might be more accurate.
People can write on a postcard. We're not giving our addresses, but like send us into us what you think. Am I the crackpot Yeah.
Care of Joe Duffy, RTE.
Donnybrook, Dublin 4. Just write shite talk on the letter, put a stamp on it. The post office will know what to do with it. They'll get it to us.
It'll go straight to Joe Duffy.
Well, if you're saying for years, Joe Duffy's probably getting a lot of fucking mail going.
He's like, what the fuck is this?
Another shite talk into the bin. Who sends post anymore? No one. Only the government.
Joe Duffy gets a lot of it though.
Yeah, he does actually, in fairness to him.
Fan mail.
Keep him on post going.
He is.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to leave that there. We'll be back next week, unless Ken goes on a holiday.
Not planning it.
Good. See you all next week, we hope.
Good luck.
No.